So appreciate everybody coming out today to celebrate with us. I think I've met most everybody here, but if I don't know you, my name's Ben Berka. I'm the Director of Development for Ducks Unlimited, so work with most of you as major sponsors and a lot of the major sponsors around the state, corporations and foundations across the state. So again, appreciate you coming out to celebrate with us. So we're celebrating our Iowa Big Rivers Initiative dedication here. And so the Iowa Big Rivers Initiative covers all of DU's work basically between the Mississippi and Missouri rivers, excluding the Prairie Pothole region, which is our Living Lakes Initiative. So a lot of work, obviously, as you all know, has gone right here in Riverton. So part of the celebration is to celebrate the new water control structure on the North Refuge. So if you haven't had a chance to see that and you're interested in seeing it, we'll offer a short tour after we're done with photos here today. But so again, we'll have an unveiling here in a little bit, but again, we're celebrating essentially $1 million in private fundraising here. It's our first dedication since 2017, where we had our last Iowa Big Rivers dedication at Cone Marsh. So significant achievement, and again, thank you all for your help with that. Riverton is near and dear to my heart. I spent a lot of time down here in the late 90s through the mid 2000s. My brother lived in Shenandoah, and so we'd come down here this time of year. 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, we'd take the boat off the trailer, and you know, for those of you that hunted here a long time, remember all the boats moored up here. So we would be one of those dozens of boats that became mouse and rat infested over that 2 week period. And so you kick the rats out and go hunting, and we had a great time. So lots of memories. So thanks again for everybody who's contributing. We've got a good lineup here of folks to talk about the project and what DU's up to. So without further ado, I want to kick it over to Mr. Chris Sprott, our state chairman. And Chris travels the state all over the place on his own time, on his own dime, as our volunteer leader for the state of Iowa. So Chris.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah, as Ben said, I'm a volunteer. I've been a volunteer for Iowa Ducks Unlimited for about 18 years. I'm a major donor. My wife and I both are. And I'm honored to be here today representing Iowa Ducks Unlimited. And I did write some things down so I just don't stand up here and babble and waste your guys' time. Like all of you, the passion of DU's mission runs deep with my wife, Twyla, and I. And years ago at an event, we got to learn about the science of conservation. And that's what hooked us into Ducks Unlimited. And not only did the science of the conservation, but the science tells DU where to spend their dollar, in our hard-earned dollar, just like all your hard-earned dollars. So that's what got us hooked. And we're happy to be here today to celebrate this with you. Today we're here and to celebrate another successful completion of a science-based and engineer-based project to recognize all of your passion and commitment to making this mission happen. Your major donor dollars went directly towards the funding of this engineer and design of this project, which is the biggest piece of the puzzle. And without the engineering and the foundation, it doesn't happen. This past year, Ducks Unlimited spent over $2 million in the state of Iowa on projects across the state, including this one right here in Riverton. Also in 2024, Iowa DU entered into an agreement with IDOLS for a 5-year contract worth $7.1 million to do study and build wetlands for the Iowa Department of Agriculture and to tackle degraded water systems in our state and our hometowns. In 2025, Iowa DU and its partners will set out to spend over $5 million on projects across the state, and those projects can't happen without the hard work of our volunteers, the commitment of you major donors, and the dedication of all the staff in our great state. So on behalf of Iowa Ducks Unlimited, and from the bottom of my heart, I thank each and every one of you for your passion and dedication for joining us today. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to the man that's behind the science in Iowa, our regional biologist, Mike Shannon.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, again, my name is Mike Shannon. I'm a regional biologist with Ducks Unlimited, so I coordinate all of DU's conservation programs throughout Iowa and a little bit of Missouri. This project's been great because it's a great example of what Ducks Unlimited can bring to the table. It's rare for Ducks Unlimited to go do a project all by ourselves. We work a lot on state and federal refuges, helping the public agencies improve the habitat that they have. Iowa DNR does a great job working on their properties, but like everybody else, they're always limited on time and money. And so teaming up with them gets a lot more, makes your money go a lot farther, makes their money go a lot farther. This project's a great example of that. Through your support for the Big Rivers Initiative, Ducks Unlimited was able to team up with Iowa DNR and write a NACA grant, a North American Wetland Conservation Act grant that could be up to $1 million to work on wetland habitat, waterfowl habitat along the Missouri River. Again, Ducks Unlimited can't do that by ourselves. DNR can't do it by themselves. It takes at least a 2-to-1 non-federal match to do that, to match the NACA money. And so Ducks Unlimited, we can kind of put together that kind of partnership, starting with you, because it's your money that kind of starts that whole process rolling. Ducks Unlimited can come to the table and say, hey, we've got this match. We can go to DNR. We can build on that, build up that match so we can go write that NACA grant, bring $1 million into Western Iowa to do habitat work. And that's what helped build the project out here and enhance the wetlands out here. So all that starts with the work that you're doing, with the support you have for Ducks Unlimited. So I really appreciate what you've done, because it makes all the rest of it happen. That's, like I said, that's the seed money that starts the ball rolling and makes it all happen. It makes, DNR's job easier, makes my job easier. So thank you. I appreciate your support. Hope we can count on you in the future, and love to have you anytime there's questions. If you got, any questions about waterfowl, wetlands, anything else, give us a holler. I'd love to help you out if you can. So learn a little bit more about the project that happened out here and why that's important to wetlands here at Riverton. I'm going to introduce Matt Dollison. He's the biologist here in the southwest part of the state.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the specifics of the project that we're here to commemorate today. So when I came here, became the biologist here at Riverton in 2013, and about 5 or 6 years after that, we were in a definite wet period. We had major issues with getting the marsh actually drained, which is an important part of growing the duck food out here. And we had about a 25-person group of experts and managers from around the region that came and looked at the Riverton Wildlife Management area and gave us advice on things they thought we could improve here, especially for ducks and their habitat. And the number one thing that came out of that was that we needed to improve the drainage out here in order to dry it out and grow that duck food better, especially during those wet periods. So at that time we said, okay, that's a number one priority, and set that aside, and knew that we needed some funding for that. And then at the same time, our main outlet on Spring Creek, or what we call the pump ditch, was starting to blow out. The corrugated metal pipe and the water control structure there were rusted out and needed to be replaced. The whole thing was going to blow out, when we started to get significant rain. So both those major projects that we obviously didn't have money for, and so we identified those as major priorities for the next NACA grant, North American Wetlands Conservation Act. And so as part of that, the grant that Mike Shannon wrote, we want to thank him for that. It was funded, and we included about 2.5 miles of drainage ditch cleanouts and improvements, and also replacing that outlet structure. What was a corrugated metal pipe that has a lifespan of about 20 to 30 years. Instead, this time we replaced with a concrete box culvert structure and control structure that should last, over 100 years. So, without that outlet structure, we're not able to flood 1,200 acres of wetland here. So everything north of the highway relies on that. So I want to thank the North American, the NACA program, the Fish and Wildlife Trust Fund, the hunter license sales, hunting and fishing license sales dollars help pay for that, and also a huge contribution from Ducks Unlimited, writing the grant and also doing all the engineering for us, and all of your guys' donations and extra donations that are on the plaque tonight. I want to thank you all for helping make that project happen, and definitely did a lot to improve our habitat here at Riverton. So that's all I got.
Great, thank you, Matt. Just to acknowledge a couple other folks, Alonzo Barkley and Christian Kinsey are here tonight. So Alonzo and Christian, they've done work on this project here. Alonzo did all the engineering, and I know spent a lot of time down here. We've been in touch throughout the project, and I know several major sponsors here in the crowd been getting updates kind of throughout that project. So thank you guys. So Mike had mentioned all the partners involved, and obviously big partners for us at Ducks Unlimited down here are you all, and namely club members, private landowners, not only the habitat you're providing, but obviously the money that you're providing and the pledge support, as Mike mentioned. The pledge dollars that you guys put forward help unlock additional federal monies. So I wanted to invite Austin Rice to say a few words. Austin's been a long time Ducks Unlimited member, major sponsor, President's Council member, and standing member at the Pelican Hole Duck Club. And so on behalf of the clubs, I invited Austin just to come and say a few words. So thank you, Austin.
Very good. Thanks, Ben. I became involved with DU in the early 80s and then chaired the Mid-Iowa DU in the mid-80s and was on the Conservation Program Committee, National Committee back in the early 2000s, which was a lot of fun. We put the rubber stamp, all the big projects that went on across America. And then I was major donor for a couple years after that, chair of major donations, and have been involved for a long time with DU, and it's a great, we love everything you guys are doing and everything else, and great organization. Thank you guys for everything that you've done, and that I've been coming down here since, well, the mid-90s, and that there's been a lot of changes. George, you got to come up here. You've been coming here for 70 years. My good 50. You might give us a little bit of what you've seen change.
Well, George Milligan, I'm from Des Moines, and I started hunting when I was 14 down here, so this is my 54th season in Riverton, Iowa. So a lot of good times, and I would say that in those days, Riverton held 100,000 mallards at any given time, and that was a lot more fun than it is today. And I hope that Matt and his team and this, new work that's been done can kind of get us back to, I don't know if we can get back to 100, but I'd take 50 or 75. But we're rooting for you, and we're hoping that you'll take this investment and make it into something better. And thank you for your work going forward. So we're wishing and rooting for you.
Wow, that's very low.
Thanks, George. Appreciate it.
Well said.
Yeah, we've all had the privilege of being here for a long time, and there's a lot of people have heavy investments down here, and everything that we can do to help make this refuge better, and we've done, and the giving of the money and everything else is it's helping yourselves as well. And to continue that, I'm making my President's Council donation today, and if anybody else feels like donating, I'm sure there'll be somebody here that'll take your check. So, yeah. So thank you, Ben.
Great.
Thanks so much, Austin. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, very nice.
Yes, and again, that's a great start, and thank you all for your support. But again, our work's not done here. So yeah, as Austin alluded to, if anybody is interested in making a new life sponsor pledge, again, the way the life sponsor program works is you can take a pledge. Pledge commitment is typically $10,000 increments, and you can take those out to 5 years. And so again, what that does for Mike and his team is that is essentially our accounts receivable. And so we know we've got X number of pledge dollars coming in that Mike can leverage against federal NACA dollars. And so that's the power he talks about in unlocking that. So as we celebrate tonight, think about that and consider. And I'll invite everybody to come up, and we can do an unveiling here. Gentlemen. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. This is a temporary plaque. I want to let everybody know that the bronze will be ordered, but we always like to get eyes on it one last time before we cast the names. We've had divorces and different things come up, so make sure you look at it like you want it.
Why not?